guys, so today is the 3rd of May 2020, and we got close of the monthly candle on Friday, on Thursday, sorry, which was the 30th, and Friday was the close of the weekly candle, which was the 1st. So it's an interesting point in time right now. Let's have a look at the SPY. Basically looking at it from this point of view on the daily, we had the massive dump obviously, and then we had a massive recovery, or massive, bounce, I guess you could say. And we had this bounce happening here on this trend line. If you can see this little blue trend line, sure, maybe I'll make it a bit bigger, a bit thicker here, so you can see it there. And we basically been supported here, and we had it as a rising wedge kind of thing here, right? We had a rising wedge, and then we broke out, and then we were basically grinding against it, right? And we were grinding against it far too long, far too long. So then basically what we said is this is no longer like a wedge thing. There's no follow through. And actually what you can do is you can redraw it like that, right? And then instead of grinding against it, we're grinding down and trying to break it down. So this is just a trend line that we tried to break, and now we have finally broken it. So it's fairly significant, significant development. So the line was 27 bars, 38 days long, right? Which is qualifies for a macro structure, in my view, and it should have a really nice follow through, which it already did, to be honest with you. So if you look at this, we already dumped about 3%, 3 something percent. And the other key, of course, to notice here is obviously the golden pocket, which every single person probably knows about, and they have highlighted, and we have been highlighting. I've been looking at this as well for ages, between this two golden ratio thing. So we reached this, we were on downtrend, uptrend on the daily, high low, high high here, high low, high high. So now we have the daily high low over here, and now we possibly what we're going to do is we're going to start forming a head and shoulders here, or something like that, right? Bang bang. Depends where we bottom out. We still haven't seen the signs that we have bottomed out yet. And Friday was pretty brutal, to be honest. Friday we opened up, we tried to bounce, and then we just kept selling off for the most of the day, until about midday. Then we just started going sideways. And we do have some wicks here, so that means maybe we're going to start bouncing, soon here to form the right shoulder, and then we can break it, and then we will break the daily uptrend, and that will be very, very significant. And the other thing we could probably look at is the EMAs. So I've got the EMAs here, and 21 and 8 EMA, and the 21 EMA is coming up to be a support. As you can see over here, it was perfect support on this daily high low. We're going to touch it again on Monday, because we've had so many reports. It's all over the news everywhere that Warren Buffett and his investment group dumped all the airlines, and they're sitting a lot in cash right now. And they don't see any value in investing right now for anything cheap. And actually, I've put up my own tweets, a couple of my own tweets here. If you see this one, so basically Buffett and why he hasn't made any big investments, and that's because he doesn't see anything that attractive at the moment. And then also the interesting one here is that he talks about the current situation and the rates going negative. So he's saying that you want to own something other than currency and debt, because it's been printed on unprecedented levels in our society, and we're having this new experiment with negative rates that have been going on for quite a long time. Perspective speaking, right? So he's saying, can this go on? Can this go on? And he's saying that yes, it can go on. It's been going on for 12 or so years now. But it's funny thing is that he doesn't sound very convinced. It sounds like as if he wants to, sell and get rid of his bonds and debt, and get into something like gold. So another reason for Warren Buffett, smart man. Something else I'm seeing right now is this head and shoulder pattern on the other side right here, and it has already been broken bearish. So you can see, boom boom. It's broken bears right there. So, and yeah, it looked brutal. It didn't look good on Friday. And actually, good thing I didn't trade, because I had a few bullish trades that I wanted to do, and I decided to stay out because it just looked too bearish at the moment. And like I did, because everything dumped on Friday. As you can see here, pretty much everything is red. Everything is red here. So on the right side there. Okay, so let's have a look at the monthly, right? This is a monthly close. What does the monthly look like, right? The monthly looks like, there's a huge bounce. I think they say it had the best month ever since, almost forever, because, just the magnitude is much, much bigger. We had, if you go from the bottom here to the top, we had 20.8%, and there was 550, range of 50, which, range of 50 is huge, because we were back at below 50 back, over here, 90s. We broke 50, and then we stayed about 50, I guess, the whole time. So yeah, and it looks like a huge bounce here, and now we're starting to form so it is an inside bar just because we had a huge dump the month previous with a long week, and now we're having a inside bar, and possibly we're gonna have another inside bar in the monthly here if we start going down, which the likelihood, especially if we break the daily uptrend, then yeah, we're very likely to stay to form another inside bar on the monthly, sorry. So yeah, RSI, we have this bearish divergence, so the bearish divergence played out, and now basically we are cooled off, and we're at about 50 RSI right now on the monthly, so there's not much. You can see there's a huge dump in the volume here, also highlighting that. And the other interesting thing is just like to look at the price action. Like ever since the 2009, we had this huge dump here, and then we had we had this fake sort of a double dip and a fake out, and then huge pump. And over here we have this signal, right? And that's what I thought like when I was looking at it, that this was a signal of something bigger coming, because once you start getting very volatile, the volatility it tends to stay, and that's why we had this signal here as a warning, and then the interest rates starting getting reduced towards zero, and then we had this dump here again. Yeah, that's just something to think about when volatility increases. So now what we have now is basically we had this dump, we had this pump, and everybody, all the news, everything was really bearish, and that's why now we've come up a lot. We've come up very high. We've come up to 0618 golden pocket, so we're not very likely to go to lower low, right? It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna take a lot to come down and break the high low, low low here, which is 23% from here. But on the weekly, what we're looking at basically is this reversal candle here. It's like a shooting star, I think you call this. We had the oversold bounce of the weekly RSI, and you can see we haven't had this oversold for a very long time, right? From 2008, so we haven't been this oversold since 2008, and that's why we're having such a big bounce, right? You gotta let your time frames play out, and this is a weekly time frame, so it just takes many weeks to play out. So now are we going down? Now we're going lower, and many people saying we are, and things like Buffett saying that he sold all his airlines are probably going to cause panic on Monday. On the weekly, we're bouncing the RSI at 50, so basically in the middle zone right now. It went from overbought to oversold, which is really crazy. So now it needs to, we're most likely to form some sort of equilibrium. We're going to try to look for a higher low on the weekly, and what that means is basically we're going to break the uptrend on the daily, and then we're going to go down to form a higher low on the weekly. And the other, I guess, thing that I should mention is this. It's a broadening wedge, right? This is a broadening wedge, and broadening wedges usually, well, if you apply technical analysis, right, the broadening wedges are supposed to break down if they're rising, because basically what it shows you that this thing is getting unstable. It's just, it's just going crazy. It's unstable, and the likelihood is going to go down. So that's one thing, but you're fighting the Fed, right? The Fed is printing money. The Fed doesn't want the market to go down. The what do you call it? Trump is on the Powell's Fed's chair's throat, saying you have to print, you have to print, you have to protect the stock market, because obviously Trump doesn't want the stock market to crash, and he's not going to get reelected. The election is just happening very soon, right? So that's basically SPY. SPY's bearish on the daily time frame. If it's gonna bottom out sometime next week and then start going back up, you probably don't want to play bullish. You want to play bearish. You want to try to enter on the lower high with your stop at the top, and then you want a continuation down for a weekly high low finding. And then if you get rid of this, we can start looking of where is it gonna go to, right? Where is it gonna go to? And we got the 0382 fib over here at about 265, and then we got the golden pocket all the way here with a really nice support level over there. Actually, you know what? I'll switch on the SPX 500 thing, and I got a bit more drawings here. So we got next support is over here. We had action over here first of all on the dumping. Then we had action trying to break up. Once we broke up, we had wicks down to this area. Then we retested it once again. Then we shot up. So this is the next area to test, which is about 2760 on the SPX 500 USD. As you can see, we broke this one on Friday. We broke this support here on Friday, which was resistance here, then resistance again rejected, then we broke it finally, and now we've broken it back below it. It didn't act as a very good resistance on the way down, just because somebody's been heavily selling on last few days. As you can see here, the volume has been dropping off on this way up, and now the volume is rising. Right, the volume is rising when we're topping out here. We had the indecision. We had this red candle here, which opened up, gapped up, but then we sold off. Somebody was cashing out on high volume. Then we had this sort of indecision candle. It has a small body and like 2 weeks top and bottom, so it's just sideways day sort of thing on the higher volume, so it couldn't go higher. And then we had another indecision candle with more high volume, and it's not even green, it's red now, so it's not a red flag. And now we sold off on we just got down and sold off pretty much the most of the time on Friday, even on higher volume. So what it's showing us is that there are bears. The bears are roaring right now. They come up to the 0618 fib retracement. There was some resistance and support over here before at the same time, and possibly we rejected from this trend line. We broke it. It depends how you want to draw it. Right, I just leave it like that for now. But yeah, we're gonna probably on the first attempt we're gonna hold this. We're not gonna break it. We're gonna bounce, set a lower high on the daily, and then we're gonna break it. Unless anything is possible, but that's the most likely scenario, right? The most likely scenario. We're gonna have to cool off our RSI. You can see the 1 hour RSI is oversold. It's been oversold the whole time on Friday. And let's have a look at 4 hours. 4 hours almost oversold, right? If I stick it on the 4 hour, we'll be oversold if we dump straight away, and we're going to be above the support. So the likelihood is that we are going to bounce before we sell off. And you can see here on this chart how brutal the sell off was. It's just down, 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 a little bounce here at the close of the day, and then still dumping, 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 and then dumping more, just sideways action. Not even high. There was an attempt here, but just 2 long wicks formed and then dump again. Now we're getting something here. So it's just been really, really brutal. So we don't want to. We expect to bounce here. I expect to bounce low high. We can always, but there's a chance for everything. So you can see this one. Yeah, here is the one where you got a little bit more clarity of what's going on. So you got the resistance here, resistance. We broke above support, and we're gonna have a support here once again. So some supports are lining up here to hold this high low for now, at least for now. So we're likely to set up a head and shoulder pattern. So we're gonna draw something like that, and then we break. It can be shorter, like that, but that's what I'm expecting. Here. So let's have a quick look at the 4 hour. 4 hour, don't really see anything. 4 hour, we got somewhat a support here on the other side, maybe a double bottom. Full form. On the daily, we already looked. We got the trend line here. So that's my view on the SPY, right? SPY. So let's move on now. Let's have a very, very quick look at the Australian one. Australian one is just complete trash, much worse than American market, because there's they're printing the US dollars there. So here we only retraced up to 0382, so it's like a dead cat bounce basically. It's terrible. For now we can try to draw some sort of a bear flag formation here, like that. Maybe even in the form of a rising wedge as well. And look, we're pretty much breaking it now. So that's Australian market. I don't trade it. Let's move on to gold. So gold is, last time I basically said that I'm waiting for it to drop in this area here because it's in the weekly channel, right? So if I put on weekly, we got this weekly channel starting back in 2018, which we've been at, and now we're testing again above it. We got this bearish divergence happening here. So we're bearish, right? Technically we're bearish because, not bearish, but like we want consolidation. Technically, gold needs to consolidate, and but what's happening is that gold is refusing to go down. Like you got people like Ray Dalio, you got people like even what's his name, Buffett. Warren Buffett now is also like pretty much saying gold is a good option at this stage because of all the stuff that central banks are doing and the government. So maybe what the gold is going to do, maybe it's just going to break up. So in that case, what we have here is basically a daily. On the daily, we have an equilibrium, right? We got the high, we got the low, we got the low high here, and I think on Friday we've set this high low here. So let's see what's happening next week, which is tomorrow, Monday. Once we open, maybe we're gonna come up and set another lower high, and then we're just gonna get tighter. If we're gonna get tighter and then we break pull out of it, then yeah, maybe it's time to go bullish. It's time to go bullish, obviously with the stop loss and everything. But we can just break through. We can just go up because the fundamentals are lining up for gold. And if big hedge funds start to sell stocks and they start to sell bonds and treasuries, then where is that money going to go? Some of it, of course, is going to go into dollar, which we will look at as well. But dollar actually broke there out of the equilibrium here. And some of the money is going to go into gold, right? Some of the money is going to go into gold. And the other things you have to think about is when the countries like China realize that the debt that America has is never going to get repaid, and China is the largest holder of American debt via the bonds and treasuries or whatnot, and they once they realize that debt is never going to get paid and they're not going to get that much return on their treasuries and bonds because the percentages are pretty much at zero interest rates, then maybe they start to sell it. And where's that money going to go? Well, some of it is going to obviously go into gold. Some of it's going to go to gold, and some of it is going to go in the Chinese market. So Chinese market is something you gotta watch as well going forward. And maybe I will try. I've already started looking at some Chinese stocks. You know, like the ones that trade on American exchanges, like Alibaba, like JD, a bunch of other ones as well. You can just Google Chinese stocks. Excuse me. So where's the money gonna go? It's gonna go into gold. It's gonna go everywhere. So that's gold for you. I mean, there's nothing more to say from last time. We got the channel resistance, we got the bearish divergence. Or is it a bearish divergence, or they're just calling up the RSI here? You know, maybe the bearish divergence played out over here already. So we got 2 weeks at the bottom here. So the bulls keep buying the dips all the time, and you know, monthly candle closed with a wick. I guess it has a wick here, but it doesn't look bad. You know, it doesn't look as bad as these 2 candles. So we just have to wait and see. What we have to wait and see is that if bulls will just keep marching on, basically, or if we're gonna get some sort of a pullback here. So yeah, fundamentally I'm super bullish on gold, but technically I'm bearish. It's not if this resistance here is supposed to hold, but you know, fundamentally maybe you just want to buy some gold in chunks, right? Buy some this month, buy some next month, so cost dollar average, because I don't see it going down that much. So yeah, let's go. Daily equilibrium, simple. If we break the support here, well, now it's this support here. Well, really it's this support, which is low 1661. Then we're consolidating, and we have a chance of coming down to 1620 region, where I will be a buyer. Until then, I'm just gonna give it some time, have a look what's going to happen with it. Yeah. So let's go silver. Let's have a look gold and silver ratio. Gold and silver ratio. So we have the falling wedge here, and now it's like almost like a reverse head and shoulder pattern. We did break the neckline here, but it was a rejection. So maybe it's gonna keep going up. Let's see what's gonna happen. It's pretty tight right now, and the bulls basically want to break through here to confirm the head and shoulders, and for gold to go up versus silver, and silver to go down versus gold. As we know, silver has been very weak. Let's have a look on the monthly real quick. The monthly closed just an inside bar, but a long way upwards. Now we are at this range here, which is basically where the candle closed last month, and silver is completely obliterated, and then, you know, it had a pump here while the gold was pumping, and here was sideways while the gold was pumping, and we had a huge dump compared to gold, and we actually went to 2009 lows, almost 2008 lows. Yeah, when we dumped here. So yeah, silver is much weaker than gold. So what you want some signs that silver is starting to go up as a trader. But I'm bullish on silver as well, just because you know, we have these paradigmaships, and when gold starts being bullish, silver is bullish as well. So I'll be looking to buy silver for fundamental reasons. So that's right. So let's have a look at dollar. So I'm bullish on dollar, right? I'm bullish on dollar, but at the moment, dollar formed this equilibrium and it break bearish. So technically, I'm bearish. Fundamentally, I'm bullish here. So dollar broke through, and if you look on the weekly time frame, yeah, it looks bearish as well. You know, it had this sort of range thing, and it broke bearish out of it. But what we still have is this support here. Let's have a look at it on the monthly. So on the monthly, you can see we got this, which we are going to test if we go anywhere lower this month. And this is the second month that we closed above this trend line, right? This trend line, this triangle resistance. So this is sort of bullish, but we are setting a lower RSI. So yeah, if we break out bullish, bearish, unless it's a fake out and we start pumping next week, we expect dollar to come down to 97 and test these lows here, test the trend line. Resistance and now support, so we'll see, and we'll act accordingly when it gets there. Alright, so, and at the same time, Australian dollar has had a nice run. Looks like the SPY market, basically. It's like, you know, and the Australian dollar is just the support here. It broke, closed below it. So let's see what next week brings. I'm bearish on Australian dollar fundamentally, just because Australia had the large foreign debt, which is probably most likely 100% of it, if not 90, or if not 100% denominated in US dollars. So they will need US dollars to repay it. Therefore, US dollars will go up, Australian dollar will go down, due to those forces. So oil, finally had this bounce happening. It had the zero was the lower low, I guess. That was the low. It set a high low at about 10:30, 10:27. Now it's having a high high. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, I have no comment on oil. It's just too crazy. It's too crazy. That's just yeah. Just to summarize what I'm thinking about SPY. SPY is probably gonna start setting it lower. It's gonna bottom out sometime this week. I would say it will not break this daily high low support. It will bounce and it will form a lower high, and then it will form a head and shoulder. But it will not be super easy. The market never makes it that easy, so it's not gonna be easy. But my expectation is that it's gonna set up head and shoulder and then dump lower. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to bet too much against the Fed, right? And if you do, obviously you have to accept the risk. The Fed is able to do anything they want. They can print a limited amount of money and dump it in the stocks. They can actually buy some ETFs through this new vehicle I think they created. They can buy ETFs indirectly by giving money to this company. I forget the name of it, but they can buy ETFs and they can keep the market going up, especially because Trump is putting such a big pressure on them. So technically bearish, but Fed, you're gonna be fighting Fed here. So be extra careful and always have a stop in. So that's all I wanted to say. And good luck. See you later.